Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the wild world of global business. Specifically, we're tackling a familiar challenge. How do you effectively collaborate with a team scattered across different time zones? You know, when it's 3 p.m. for you, but your European counterparts are already dreaming of dinner because it's 9 p.m. their time. Yeah, we've all been there. So grab your noise-canceling headphones, adjust your webcams, and let's get ready to bridge the Atlantic one time zone at a time. Alright, let's start with the most fundamental aspect of cross-time zone collaboration, finding those precious, overlapping work hours. It might seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how often teams overlook this simple step. Remember, we're aiming for real-time communication whenever possible, and that means finding those windows where both sides of the Atlantic are up and running. Think of it like this. You're trying to find the perfect Venn diagram overlap between a New York minute and a London tea time. For example, scheduling a meeting in the late morning for the East Coast team often aligns perfectly with the late afternoon for our friends across the pond. This way, everyone's still got some energy left in the tank, and nobody has to sacrifice their beauty sleep or, a decent breakfast. Now I know what you're thinking. John, this sounds great in theory, but what about those times when finding an overlap feels as likely as spotting a unicorn riding a double-decker bus through Times Square? Well, my friend, that's where a little creativity and a whole lot of communication come into play. Don't be afraid to get granular with your scheduling. Maybe you can squeeze in a quick 30-minute check-in right before the European team logs off, or perhaps you can alternate who gets stuck with the occasional early morning or late-night meeting. The key here is to be mindful and respectful of everyone's time. Transparency is your best friend in these situations. Openly discuss time zone challenges with your team and work together to find solutions that work for everyone. So we've conquered the time zone obstacle course and found those magical overlapping work hours. Now it's time to talk about the lifeblood of any successful collaboration communication. And no, I'm not talking about carrier pigeons or transatlantic shouting matches, though those could be interesting team-building exercises. In today's digitally connected world, we're spoiled for choice when it comes to communication tools. We've got everything from email and instant messaging to video conferencing and project management platforms. But as with any buffet, the key is to choose wisely and avoid overindulging in any one particular dish. For real-time conversations, video conferencing is your best bet. There's something about seeing your colleagues' faces and hearing their voices that just can't be replicated in an email chain. Plus, it allows for more natural, spontaneous conversations, which can be crucial for brainstorming and problem-solving. But let's not forget about the power of asynchronous communication. Email is still a reliable workhorse for sharing important updates, documents, and those lengthy explanations that nobody wants to sit through in a meeting. And then there's the wonderful world of instant messaging platforms like Slack, which are perfect for quick questions, informal check-ins, and of course the occasional GIF-fueled conversation starter. Okay, so we've established our overlapping work hours and assembled our communication toolkit. Now let's talk about how to keep everyone on the same page, even when they're separated by thousands of miles and a whole lot of salt water. The answer, my friends, lies in the magical world of regularly scheduled meetings. I know. The word meeting can sometimes send shivers down even the most seasoned professional's spine, but trust me on this one. When it comes to transatlantic collaboration, regular meetings are essential for maintaining momentum, addressing challenges, and ensuring that everyone feels connected and informed. The key is to be strategic and intentional with your meeting cadence. A good rule of thumb is to have at least one team meeting per week, scheduled at a time that works for the majority of the team. This doesn't mean everyone has to be present for every single meeting, especially if you have team members in drastically different time zones, but having that dedicated time blocked off each week ensures that there's a consistent forum for communication, collaboration, and, dare I say it, camaraderie. Instead, focus on making your meetings engaging, productive, and even enjoyable. Consider incorporating interactive elements like polls, quizzes, or even virtual team-building activities. And most importantly, make sure everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts and ideas, regardless of their location or time zone. Chapter 4. Speaking the same language, clear, concise, and context-rich communication. So, we're having our meetings, we're using our fancy communication tools, but something's still not clicking. The project feels disjointed, deadlines are being missed, and everyone's starting to wonder if they accidentally signed up for a transatlantic game of telephone. What's the missing ingredient? Well, my friends, it all boils down to one crucial element: clear, concise, and context-rich communication. Remember, when you're collaborating across time zones, there's less room for error and misinterpretation. A casual comment made in a meeting might be long forgotten by the time your European colleagues log on, and a hastily written email can quickly spiral into a full-blown miscommunication crisis. That's why it's more important than ever to be deliberate and thoughtful with your communication. Here are a few golden rules to live by. First, always err on the side of over-communication. Don't assume that everyone has the same level of context or background information. Take the time to explain things clearly and thoroughly, even if it feels like you're stating the obvious. Second, be mindful of your tone and language. Remember, not everyone on your team may be a native English speaker. Use simple, straightforward language whenever possible, and avoid using jargon, slang, or culturally specific references that might get lost in translation. And finally, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. If something doesn't make sense or you need more information, just ask. Chapter 5. Documenting your journey, transparency, and the power of shared information. Alright, so we've mastered the art of clear communication. We're speaking the same language, we're having productive meetings, and our transatlantic collaboration is starting to feel less like a logistical nightmare and more like a well-oiled, globally distributed machine. But there's one more crucial piece of the puzzle that we need to discuss: documentation. That's right, my friends, I'm talking about the often overlooked but oh so important practice of documenting your team's progress, decisions, and yes, even those occasional missteps along the way. Now I know what you're thinking. John, you're killing me with this documentation talk. I just want to get the work done, not write a novel about it. But hear me out. When you're collaborating across time zones, documentation becomes even more critical because it creates a single source of truth that everyone can access at any time, regardless of their location or what time zone they happen to be in. Think of it like this. Your project documentation is like a virtual water cooler, where team members can go to catch up on the latest updates, ask questions, and share their thoughts and ideas. It's a place where information flows freely and transparently, ensuring that everyone feels connected and informed, even if they can't be in the same physical location. So how do you go about creating this magical documentation utopia? Well, it all starts with choosing the right tools for the job. Luckily, we live in a golden age of collaborative software, with platforms like Google Docs, Dropbox Paper, and Notion, making it easier than ever to create and share documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and more. The key is to find a system that works for your team and stick to it. Establish clear guidelines for what information should be documented and where it should be stored. Chapter 6. The human element, empathy, flexibility, and the importance of building a global team culture. We've covered a lot of ground in this video, from finding overlapping work hours to mastering the art of clear communication and documentation. But before we wrap things up, I want to take a moment to talk about something that's often overlooked in discussions about remote work and global collaboration: the human element. It's easy to get caught up in the logistics of coordinating schedules, navigating time zones, and ensuring that everyone has access to the right information. But it's important to remember that behind those screens and across those miles are real people with real lives, families, and commitments outside of work. That's why it's so important to cultivate a culture of empathy and flexibility within your team. Encourage your team members to communicate openly about their personal schedules and any potential conflicts that might arise. Be understanding if someone needs to adjust their work hours or miss a meeting due to family obligations or a national holiday in their time zone. Remember, flexibility is a two-way street. If you're asking your team to be flexible with their schedules and work styles, it's important to be willing to do the same in return. Because at the end of the day, successful global collaboration isn't just about mastering the logistics. It's about building strong, trusting relationships with your colleagues, regardless of where they're located or what time zone they happen to be in. Outgrow conquering time zones, one collaboration at a time. So there you have it, folks. We've journeyed across the vast expanse of the Atlantic, navigating the treacherous waters of time zones and emerging victorious on the other side. Hopefully, you're now feeling equipped with the tools, strategies, and most importantly, the empathy to conquer any transatlantic collaboration that comes your way. Remember, it's not about erasing those time differences entirely, but rather about finding ways to bridge them effectively and respectfully. By embracing clear communication, thoughtful scheduling, and a healthy dose of flexibility, you can unlock the true potential of global collaboration and achieve amazing things together. Now, if you found these tips helpful, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more insights on navigating